Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to AFarmers Media. Of course, the show is Farm Drive with me, Brian Munda. And of course, today I'm very excited to talk about today's topic. It's a continuity of the previous topic on e-commerce, where we talked about the art of selling online, and if you're considering to sell some of your produce online, what you need to know, of course, what matters to you. And in the previous conversation, we did talk about business to business selling. Now we're going to talk about business to customer. That's called B2C. The previous conversation was B2B. But way before we can go to that conversation, well, we have a better and better conversation here, because the Ministry of Agriculture has finally listened to us farmers, and of course has subsidized fertilizer prices. And of course this has been attributed to the around 5 billion shillings that has been given to subsidize the cost of fertilizer. And of course now DAP fertilizer is now retailing at 2,800 shillings per 50 kg bag. Of course, CAN now is retailing at 1,950 shillings per 50 kg bag. Now urea is also selling at 2,700 shillings from of course at 50 kgs bag of urea. NPK, of course, NPK is now selling at 3,000 shillings per 50 kg bag. Of course, MOP is now selling at 2,500 shillings per 50 kg bag. Sulfate ammonia is now selling at 2,700 per 50 kg bag. Of course, now say the Ministry of Agriculture did announce this, saying that CS Muja has dropped the fertilizer prices by 41% from 6,800 shillings to 2,800 shillings. And wow, this has been one of the biggest cries we've had here at AFarmers Media, at Africa Farmers Media. I do remember when we went to Meru some time back, speaking of course to different farmers. They said that this planting season they were not going to consider using fertilizer, of course, and it was some very painful thing. We as journalists are always out there taking comments, but don't lie to yourself that we also don't feel you. We do feel so much that's going on. And of course, we also went to different millers. We went to giant millers who do, of course, manufacture, of course, or mill the Kana maize flour, and they did talk to us about the impact of the lack of course, farmers not using fertilizers this planting season. They said that this was first going to take away some of the nutrients that are given by the fertilizers each and every time there's you plant with fertilizer. And now they say the second thing, they said that even the production, of course, the production will come down a little bit. The volume of production will slow. Currently, we're even facing a maize shortage in the market locally, and of course, without the fertilizer, this will be such a huge blow. It will be a very huge blow for not only farmers but also manufacturers, and also even traders. Everybody who is trading around produce, and of course, even those people doing value addition. Fertilizer is a very key component, and of course these fertilizer prices have been quite a little bit high. 150 kg bag selling at 6,800 shillings. Of course, it was very painful to be very honest with you, going out there and listening to people say how fertilizer prices are not part of their plan anymore. But now the Ministry of Agriculture, of course, also do remember we had a conversation here, of course, here talking about what you love the Ministry of Agriculture to, of course, do this planting season. And I do remember this followed even a tweet from the Ministry of Agriculture asking farmers what was the immediate problem that they wanted to be solved. And I remember one of the highest feedback came from very many feedbacks, came from farmers complaining about the high cost of fertilizer. And well, all we have to report today is glory to farmers. So you can go pick up fertilizers from different agrovites, of course, and I'm sure this subsidy will go a long way in helping different farmers now, of course, hit the ground running and now using fertilizer in this planting season. One more story is the fact that also there has been a shortage of fuel in different places. I remember this started when there was fuel shortage in Eldoret. It was reported in Eldoret, more so was in Gishu County in specific. I wouldn't just pin it on Eldoret alone. And it has now started affecting even parts of Nairobi, you know, the capital. Also, this has been articulated to the fact that, you know, this is how oil is done. Now, oil lands in Kenya at a very high cost. And the marketers, I'm trying to think different, you know, you go to different petrol stations, and what they do is that they enjoy subsidy, or the government pumps in a little bit of cash to the marketers of these or petrol stations, so that they can reduce the prices of the fuel pump. Of course, this means that of course the global prices are always very high for Kenya, and if it was, for example, let to be without the government subsidy, this actually a liter of diesel right now will be retailing at 155 shillings. And now you can imagine petrol, why it would be very high, 160 something or 70 something. And the government comes in where it has to subsidize some of these you know, the costs at which marketers do buy fuel at globally. And once it lands in Kenya, now when the government subsidizes, of course, now that's where you can see, instead of selling at 155 a liter of diesel, they can now sell at 115. That's close to 40 shillings subsidy per liter. And now the problem comes in where now the government has delayed in pumping in the subsidy to these marketers. And what that means is the fact that now marketers are going out there to buy this fuel at very high cost. And you know, that means that it's going to be directly translated to very extremely high prices of fuel at the retail price. That's you're going to buy at very high prices. And also remember, it's very competitive, because even in Uganda, fuel is a little bit cheaper when it comes without the subsidy. Of course, in Kenya, fuel is very cheap when it comes to Uganda compared to Kenya, when Kenya is not subsidized, of course. And of course, if marketers in Uganda are enjoying the subsidy and Kenyans are not enjoying the subsidy, this means that this competition even internationally. So this means that even people in Busia, people in Kisumu can always cross the border and buy fuel, which is not so good for the Kenyan market also. So all these factors, and plus the fact that, you know, once there is no subsidy and the companies are fearing competition out there also, and also they might not sell enough fuel, of course, what they do is that they might be forced to ask for loans, you know, so that they can subsidize the fuel itself. You know, it's a catch-22 situation. So what is happening is now that the government has said they are currently reviewing the amount of money that goes to subsidizing fuel for different marketers. So what this means is that the government is reviewing which fuel marketer should be receiving what amount of subsidy. So they say it's a process, and it's going to take close to a month to look into this subsidy. Remember, also the subsidy plan as well, the government, the governor for CBK, Patrick Njoroge, said that government cannot sustain subsidizing of fuel each and every time. So, well, I think it has started hitting us. And the government, they say that now the government has started to look into ways that other big fishes, other big countries always sustain fuel at very competitive rates. And because there's so much money that goes to subsidizing fuel prices, of course now a barrel of fuel is now retailing at very extremely high prices, close to 66, actually close to 70,000 shillings per barrel. And of course, with the taxation that comes in, the money right now that will be directly translated to the Kenyan buyer will be very high. And this has even gone a long way to even affecting the cost of living, because more of this commodity is always transported from place to place by logistics, and some of these logistics depend heavily on fuel. And once the cost of fuel is a little bit high, the cost of sales will go high, of course. The cost of which also, as a ripple effect or as a direct effect, affects the high cost of living. Of course, now the inflation of fuel has been high, of course, because first of the reserves that have been there. Also, of course, the COVID-19 recovery mechanism that has been there. The world is recovering from COVID-19 and the economic effects of COVID-19. So this means that there has been a sharp rise in demand for fuel. But then, well, are we able to sustain the sharp rise? So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is the fact that we do buy more of the fuel from Russia and Ukraine. And the fuel right now, the mining of the fuel and some of these reserves have been closed down due to the geopolitical war that is happening in between Ukraine and Russia. Of course, it's really interesting what's happening. And this has pushed the prices of fuel by even 50% more. And some countries, some developed countries, are really even feeling the pinch with even more than 50% increase in fuel prices. So I think today we're just going to share information. I have no solution for fuel prices going high or going low, but I'm going to give you that's the reason as to why we are facing fuel shortages, because marketers cannot buy fuel at the price that is out there, because now the government is also taking time to subsidize. Now the government says it is taking time to subsidize the fuel prices because it is reviewing what amount of money goes to subsidizing what amount of money is going to be of course given to different allocated to different marketers, and they're reviewing how much needs to be out there. So that explains some of the things that are happening currently. And of course, it's always very good to understand where we are even going, because well, I'm sure if you've not yet met queues in your local petrol station, somehow soon, if nothing happens, you're going to meet one. And of course, you might not be even satisfied with the amount of fuel that you're going to receive, because everybody is being given some fuel kidogo kidogo tu hapa na pale. So we look into a more optimistic future where the government can speed up the process of reviewing the subsidy on fuel, and these will also inform the high cost of living, even the high cost of even anything that comes in contact with fuel. So today's conversation, I'll think with you. I want you to be part of this conversation today. So today we're talking about e-commerce. When you want to talk about e-commerce, in the previous conversation, as I said, we did talk about business to business type of e-commerce, where you can sell your produce online to different to other businesses. This includes maybe groceries. How you can set up a website. If you don't need a website, there are also websites which are there that have been given, that have been set for different people. different businesses. Above that, there's also social media. So if you're not in a Facebook group where you can sell off your produce, of course, or some you can sell off some of your livestock, or maybe something around there, it's always very good. And some of these Facebook groups that we find ourselves in are more of I would say are more of customized to people of the same interest. Kama ni watu wa nguruwe side moja, kama ni watu wa ng'ombe side nyingine, kama ni watu wa samaki side nyingine, and it gives you a very important chance to sell what you have. Ask questions of what you want to know. Also understand the pricing of different things. I'm sure some of the produce that has been posted, some of the animal products that have been posted on animals come with pricing. One thing I'm always sure when I get to any marketplace group is that I'm sure hata kama imeandikwa price imeandikwa hapo juu, there's always that question, how much. That's so much of a Kenyan. So of course, if you've not yet posted some of your produce, it's always very, very important to post. If you want to go the e-commerce way, why don't you try even with the small group that you're in Facebook? That's where you can say, that's my starting point, where you have no cost of doing that. Do this. Go to the product that you want to sell. Take a very good, clear picture. Take a picture that can sell. Take a picture that put yourself in the buyer's shoe. Sit back and see the picture. If it does sell what you really will be wanting to see as a buyer, then go to your Facebook marketplace or Facebook group, post, ask. Of course, it's important to know that you need to consider first pricing. Second thing, maybe quality. You can talk about maybe the variety. You can also talk about the breed if it's for animals. So it's very important to think about pricing, of course, variety of breed. Also consider even the age if it's for animals, if it's for plants. Well, you can also talk about the period maybe that it has been in store, or maybe it has been, of course, in the farm. Another thing that's very important, give a brief description of it. Brief description means that you're selling, you're taking you're taking your chances in selling. Take your time in selling what you've posted. And the last thing that's very, very important to talk about is location. Where you're located. This ensures that you're customizing your product closer to people who are closer to you. And proximity is very, very important in selling some of these things. And of course, that has been B2B. Of course, B2B is business to business type of selling on e-commerce, on online. Now today, as I promised, we're going to discuss about B2C. Now this B2C is business to customer. Now this is where you directly sell to customers who are the last consumers on the value chain. So kama uko na kuku wako pale na wanataga mayai, wewe mwenyewe unauzia yule mtu mwenye anaenda kununua na kuconsume. So that's business to customer. That's online. So you can what you need to know in terms of before posting your product on an online for a B2C, understand the target market that you're going to sell to. Understand their competition. Understand your competition actually. Understand the alternative that comes in. Might not be directly competing with you, but they use that as an alternative. So today, instead of maybe eating an egg, of course, maybe somebody decided to eat smoky. That's not a direct competitor to eggs, but then it's an alternative people do find. So it's an indirect alternative. So it's very good to always take time, understand even the competition around you, understand the alternative, understand how people want you to, of course, supply them. Do they want in small numbers? Are they the customers that do come and buy maybe 2 eggs, 5 eggs? Are they the customers who come and buy one crate, even two crates? It's very, very important to understand some of these things. And what are some of the benefits that you stand by selling to customers online directly? One is that you get to reach more customers. Remember, in a B2B or business to business type of e-commerce setting, you get to network with few customers, but then they take in bulk. But in a B2C type of setting where you're selling to customers directly, you get to reduce the number of bulk that you send out there, but then you enlarge the base, you enlarge the customer base. So the very many customers are going to come, but then they're not going to buy in large numbers because again, they are end consumers. So it gives you a chance to interact with more customers. And once you talk about interacting with more customers, you get more reviews. You also get more chances to talk to different customers and understand what they want. You also get a chance to even create a database of who you want to continue talking to and creating relationships with. So it's very, very important to also maximize and also take the opportunity when it is there, to always make sure that you can reach as many customers as possible, create a database, understand, get their reviews, understand what they want and how they want it. Another importance and another benefit that comes with it is it reduces the overhead cost. For example, this is going to be easy for you to get it. So imagine you're somewhere in, for example, you're somewhere in Kitengela. You want to sell off your nyanyas, and you want to sell them off to different clients who maybe to sell Milimani. You want to sell them to Milimani people. And one of the things that you want to do is you can first set up a brick to mortar shop. Well, basically, sitaki kuwashtua na hii majina, lakini it's just a shop where you can come and sell your nyanyas there. And what comes with it? Rent, of course. And when you talk about even the housing, you need to locate it in a very competitive place where they can come easily and pick up and go. And what business to customer type of setting does is that it takes away the physical shop and ensures that there's no shop completely, but then you can even set up a store in your house or even in your farm, and then you just, when somebody gives an order, sell them off to them directly. What you need is just logistics. Can be baiskeli, inaweza kuwa pikipiki, inaweza kuwa pickup, inaweza kuwa kagari kadogo, salon. And this reduces the amount of money that you're going to use in renting, of course. And I'm sure when we talk about even renting, we also talk about even the cost of water, steamer, na kila kitu yenye inakuja kama recurrent expenditure each and every month, what you have to part ways with. So this ensures that you reduce the overhead costs. Of course, if you're in a B2C type of setting. So these were, of course, we did talk about brick and mortar and click and mortar. Now, brick and mortar is just a shop. Click and mortar is online. It's as basic as that. Now, I hope today you've learned something. Unaweza shtua watu nayo. You can, of course, go and say, wow, guys, today I know click and mortar and brick and mortar and the difference between that. So one of the last benefits that you stand to benefit from as a B2C type of setting where you're directly selling to customers, always create a detailed customer profile. So you can always create a detailed customer profile of the shopping interest, what they always love to buy, shopping history. One thing about e-commerce is that it does e-commerce platform things like website, also on social media, more so maybe if it's Twitter or Facebook. It's going to give you a point where you can know the demographic information about demographic info. I will say it's more just information, basically as information. So it gives you how many people did visit your shop online, how many people expressed interest, how many people have maybe, for example, marked your product as in the wish list or favorited your product, how many people have made orders, how many people were ladies, how many people were men, and also, well, the age. At some point, if it's a platform that asks for age, something like Facebook, it might ask you for age. It might also give you insights about when these people even come to buy things online, because I'm trying to think, maybe in the morning not many people will buy, maybe in the afternoon people will start now buying in huge numbers. And the good thing about that, about an e-commerce platform, is that it will give you some of these metrics. And where we are going right now, where we are heading towards the world, is a point where you cannot be a master of every trade. You cannot be a jack of all trades. You can know very many things, but then you need to more segment what you do, because we're in a very competitive world. But what keeps us different from the people we are competing with is always our unique selling point. And the unique selling point is more so informed by the type of service we want to offer and the difference between the competitor. And of course, this goes down to in terms of variety, in terms of species, in terms of even the breeds, in terms of even how you take care of even animals or stuff. And what people are doing nowadays is they're narrowing down to specific markets, narrowing down to specific crops, narrowing down to specific people that they are targeting. Very, very important to understand that. And e-commerce platforms will always reduce the amount of energy you put out there by waking up every morning, ensuring that you're out there looking for what people want, talking to them differently. The good thing about e-commerce, it's going to give you these infographics. I would say actually information or analytics. It's going to give you all this, and it's going to reduce the number of time, the amount of money, the amount of time that you're spending out there and trying to know who wants what, how, where, and of course what age they are, trying to understand. It's going to give you completely that. And one of the best ways to start off an e-commerce, as I told you, business to customer, go in your Facebook group. Kama we ni mkulima wa nyanya, just go search maybe on Facebook, go search maybe for example nyanyas in Kenya. It's going to give you suggestions. If when you come in mkulima wa nguruwe pia, you go search pig farming Kenya. It might even direct you to WhatsApp groups that have been created. As I told you, how I did buy my pigs was online. Somehow I did buy my pigs online. It just looks funny, but it's one of those things that the modern world is embracing. So what you need to do, and as I said, what e-commerce platforms will offer you is the fact that it's going to reduce the amount of time and money that you're going to spend out there. So you can visit even 1,000 shops within one day online. Know how they're selling, how they're pricing their stuff. It's like a global world. It keeps you very, very informed. And of course, before we can take this short commercial break, I'm also informed that, well, different parts of course continue to rain differently. And of course here in Kitengela hapa kunanyesha usiku. I don't know what's up with that, but here different rain patterns are coming differently, of course, in different parts of the country. One thing that is constant is the fact that there is rain. And one thing that you need to do with your crop right now is ensure that it's maximizing on the amount of water that is coming in. Second thing that you need to know is that there is leaching, actually. There's leaching that happens. Leaching is when a plant loses some nutritional value or nutrients or micronutrients from the roots. This means that, well, if your plant was, in the process of uptaking some nutrients and they were carried away by water, or it lost some, what happens with that. And one of the best things that you can do right now is ensure that it does uptake, it does retain the nutrients, of course, and it's maximizing on this rainy season. And one of the best products that have been there to help you, of course, ensure that you can retain some good water in your farm, and also ensure that your crop can take up nutrients even where there are cases of waterlogging and everything, is the Mega KLP. Well, the Mega KLP ensures that Mega KLP from Omnia Nutrology, it does ensure that your crop does not suffer stress because of maybe waterlogging, for example. If just in case there's even cold, ensures that, well, you're not going to be stressed up. Your crop is not going to be stressed up. So always ask for Mega KLP when you go to your nearest agrovet. Ask for Mega KLP, and then ensure that you apply this season where there's so much flooding, there's so much waterlogging cases, and at the end of the season you'll be a very happy person going to the market. We take a short commercial break. We will be back with more.
Pesticides can be very harmful. Pesticides can be very harmful to humans and environment if they're not properly handled. Safe handling of pesticides involves proper selection and careful handling during mixing and application. However, as useful as they are, they're inherently toxic. Here are some ways you can handle pesticides for your own safety, your farms, and the people around you.
We are looking at reduced accumulation of obsolete pest control products in the country as one. We are also looking at the associated conservation of environment, and also protection, conservation of beneficial insects such as pollinators and predators, which are used to control other pests.
Before you use the pesticide, read the label and leaflet carefully. Measure the required quantity of pesticide.
You have to have adequate clean water for the mixing. Adequate meaning enough to dilute the pesticide and also enough to do the cleaning of the equipment and yourself after the application. During the mixing process, you are also supposed to be wearing your personal protective equipment or PPE, and this is to avoid exposure to the pesticides.
Applicators and handlers need to wear appropriate personal protective equipment specified on pesticide product labels by pictogram. In hot and humid climates, the wearing of additional protective clothing may be uncomfortable, and pesticides should therefore be applied during the cooler hours of the day. Care should be taken not to touch any part of the body with gloves while handling pesticides. Avoid spillage and prepare spray fluid in well-ventilated area. Do not eat, drink or smoke when handling pesticides. Check the spray equipment before use for any leakages and accurate delivery of spray solution. The nozzle should be directed to the side, away from the body. This prevents applicators walking into the spray cloud or recently sprayed foliage. Inspect equipment regularly for leaks. Leaking equipment should be repaired and the skin should be washed after any accidental contamination. While applying pesticides, be sure to follow application instructions precisely. More is not better. Unnecessary and/or incorrect application can result in exceedance of maximum residue levels, which can make the produce unmarketable.
All consumers want to eat safe food. So whenever there is an issue of what we call exceedance of pesticides, or what we call maximum residual levels of a particular pesticide, then what happens is that the market becomes very concerned, because they want to assure their consumers that they are eating safe food, which basically is healthy. And then what they will do is that they are going to discontinue the supply of the products that you're exporting.
In contrast, responsible and correct pesticide use following good agricultural practices protects the crop and keeps residues within acceptable limits required for sale. Incorrect application of pesticides can damage the crops and have a negative effect on human health and the environment.
The vision is basically to ensure that we can bring as many farmers to understand the importance of safe use of pesticides, to understand the institutions that are involved in regulation of pesticides, to understand that pesticides, when used well, will support production or increase production, and more importantly, the risks associated to the environment from pesticides.
Once you're finished applying the pesticides on target crops, empty the spray tank completely after spraying. Spray any remaining spray mix on the ground of the treated crop. Triple rinse and puncture the empty pesticide containers and place this in a safe place for disposal. Ask your supplier or agro dealer about a collection scheme. Clean the spray equipment immediately after use. Decontaminate protective clothing and footwear through following proper laundering or cleaning instructions. Wash the hands and body thoroughly with soap water. A sprayed field must be marked and unauthorized entry should be prevented. In case of suspected poisoning, please refer to the label for instructions and call the Poison Center on toll-free line indicated on the label. Report the specific pesticide used. Mishandling pesticides could have adverse effects on not only plants but also humans and the environment. Proper care and instructions should be adhered to always. Farmers are advised to attend available trainings on good agricultural practices and pesticide use within their counties to ensure safety while handling pesticides. Remember, proper usage of pesticides increases yields and market access for your produce. Food safety is everyone's responsibility, starting with the farmer. Dawa bora, mazao bora.
A very warm welcome back to, of course, the second half of this show here at AFarmers Media. The show, of course, is Farm Drive with me, Brian Munda. And of course, today's conversation is all about business to customer type of, type of selling. And we've been looking into online. Do you have some produce that you want to sell and you are considering selling them online? Well, it's one of the most effective ways of selling, cost-effective, I would say, cost-effective ways of selling. And of course, today we're looking into you selling to customers. The previous show, we did talk about you selling to, of course, other businesses and some of the most important things you need to put into considerations. And today we're looking into business to customer type of selling online, where you go and sell, you go post your product and sell them off, of course, to the last consumer of the product. But today, of course, one of the most important things that we have been discussing is that the prices of fertilizer have gone down. And of course, this was announced by the Ministry of Agriculture that did pumping up to 5.5 billion, around 5 billion into subsidizing of the fertilizer, which has been one of those key things that have made farmers maybe lose hope in planting, this planting season. Some would say they're now going to plant, and now the price of DAP fertilizer will now sell at 2,800 shillings, down from 6,000 shillings. Urea is now set to sell at 2,700 shillings, down from 6,500 shillings. CAN will now sell at 1,950, down from 3,900. NPK will sell at now 3,000 shillings, down from 4,900 shillings. MOP will now sell at 2,500 shillings, down from 3,800 shillings. And of course, the AS will now sell at 2,500 shillings, down from 3,800 shillings. So it's one of those things that we have been talking about, advocating for here at AFarmers Media, lobbying completely about the cost of fertilizer. And now we're happy that the Ministry of Agriculture has done something. Now what we can pray for more and more is that we can push that these fertilizer prices can even go further, can even drop further than even the by more than 41% that has been indicated right now. We can even drop by even 50%. It's very, very much possible, and we are happy about some of the steps that have been taken into considerations. So, of course, before, of course, we did take the short commercial break, we were looking into the business to customer type of selling online. And of course, we did talk about some of the tips that you need to understand. And of course, as a continuity of this conversation is that once you want to sell online, as we said, quality pictures is what sell you. Quality pictures are what actually attract somebody. Quality pictures are what, call somebody from far and they can see your product. Second thing, always think about discounts. You're writing down there negotiable prices, ensures that, wow, this person can still do something on this price, then we can go down this route with them. Of course, feedback is very, very important. The time that you take while giving feedback to your customers, the time that you take while talking back, of course, talking with your customers, getting back to your customers is very, very important, because again, as I said, online is a very competitive space. Your alternative is always a click away. So feedback is very important. And of course, even the reviews are very extremely important, because some of us just go online to look for reviews. Before you can buy something, we look for reviews and see, somebody says that this was very good, there was very good reception. They took a very short time to, maybe drop the order, of course, to give the order that they had made. And also remember, there's also negative reviews that also come, and negative review is always what keeps people away from your business. So once they see you took time, delivering, the quality of what you posted is not what you delivered. Small things like these, reviews, very, very important. And all these things, we're looking into customer satisfaction. The customer is always right. As we always say, the customer is always right. So always make sure that you can leverage on logistics. If you can, kama unaweza harakisha zaidi, if you can deliver maybe the eggs within one day, the better. If you can deliver within hours, even more better. And of course, always know that the alternative, your competitor, is always a click away. So always leverage on this market, because while it's a very good space, and as I told you, it's always very important to put yourself in the customer's shoe. Think about how they would want their product. also think about the inconvenience that comes, maybe of course the impact of the inconvenience that comes after you decide to, maybe, well, something comes in, maybe an inconvenience comes in, maybe, and these things are very, very, very normal. Maybe stima ilikuwa imepotea and you can do nothing about it, you know, kama barabara zilinyesha, and maybe you are unable to reach your produce in time. All these things are very, very important. And you know, as we always advocate for, people always advocate for in workplaces, relationships, and everywhere, it's always very good to leverage on communications. Communication is very, very important. Communication always ensures that you are at par with the person, or they are at par with you, are at par with your situation. Don't defend yourself. Actually, always look for a way out, because the world we're living in right now is solution oriented. It's not just where they are blame games, you know, we are kunifanyia hivi. People are always looking for solutions, and maybe, well, if you love the blame game, you can come play it later. Now, what are some of the produce that you can sell online? You know, you can sell vegetables. And once I was looking into what some of the produce that already are being sold, it's really interesting. I'm going to compliment some of those fast food outlets that are selling online. And it's, wow, it's really interesting how the space has grown. We have seen delivery as a form of, you know, extension of delivery. Maybe nowadays, unaweza anza fast food yako, hoteli yako ndogo, and wow, it's like a kitchen. You can start up a kitchen and you can deliver. People are using very small spaces to do very big things. So fast foods, maybe even food that people can buy, foodies can buy, I'm going to say so. And of course, different things are happening into this space. And more so, this has been driven by the COVID-19 pandemic that did open people's eyes. Internet penetration was one of the highest. Actually, internet grew by very high percentages during the COVID-19 pandemic. I remember the 2020-2021 financial year, one of those things that did grow big time. And actually, the economic development did happen more so on the internet penetration. And the economy did grow big time, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Actually, I think it did grow by more than 70%. It did grow big time. And many people did leverage on the ability of people just getting on their phones, on their laptops, on their computers, you know, and asking for stuff to be delivered at the doorsteps, you know. And it's even if it is a little bit slowed down right now, where of course physical shops have come back to life, people have still continued buying. People have still continued, you know, asking for deliveries at their doorsteps. And of course, even vegetables, people are even buying vegetables. Talk about fruits, you know. Once I talk about fruits, tomatoes, you know, you can think about how perishable tomatoes are, but then people are doing it. People are selling it. You know, as long as you understand the target market and understand how to deliver, the logistics of delivering, and how you're going to source for it, very, very important to look into the online. Consider online. Cucumber, you know, you can deliver cucumbers online. Pepper, avocado, you can remember. Of course, as we said, all you need to do is ensure that how they want to consume it is how you deliver. And always ensure that there's consistency in the type of delivery. Once you talk about even eggs and dairy products, you know, talk about milk, talk about yogurt, all those things. And this has opened up the world of possibilities where you can set up a very small website. Nowadays, there are even websites where you don't even need to pay for, you know, to even get there. All you need to do is customize, you know. There are websites where you don't necessarily need to pay for domain or even hosting completely. There are websites which are there to grow you. Always take advantage of them. Create a catalog, create your own shop online, sell to people, market it, you know. one of those things that you can use to sell is ensure that you can also boost some of these ads that you have to reach the interest, because basically once interest meets supply that meets the interest, money is always there. Trust me, money is always there. And of course, other things that you can even sell is, of course, we have seen people do sell coffee, tea, cold drinks, all those things. People are delivering, people are going the online way, and it's not so late to look into that. Also ensure that you can think about online as a tool of selling of your produce. And one of the best ways to do it is ensure before you can post something, ensure that if it's, for example, for vegetables, let the vegetables, you just sell them, actually take the order, or of course post the order while it's still in the farm. Always ensure that you can manage what goes out. Actually, you can always manage the situation. So this ensures that, for example, if you're posting vegetables and you want to sell them out there, don't sell them, don't first pack them and then wait for an order. Wacha tu ziendelee kukua, wacha ziendelee kukaa pale. And then once you receive an order, deliver them when they are very fresh. And it's, you know, small things work magic. Always ensure that the quality that people do receive at the end of the day, what you posted is what is delivered, because as I told you, most ukiingia pale Twitter, it's very critical. You know, somebody will say, you know, these people marketed these and I saw these, you know, I saw this restaurant, but what they posted is not what they delivered. And these things are very, very, very crucial to think about. So always ensure that you deliver what you do promise. Always ensure that even if you're going for quality picture, ensure that what you deliver is what people can see. Go for discounts. You know, people do love discounts, you know. Of course, go for positive feedback. Go for positive reviews. Also, always ensure your customer is happy. Always ensure your customer is happy. And we have also seen small rewards, things like coupons, you know, things like subsidies coming in, things like gifts, you know, small things that can entice somebody. Very, very important to think about them. So the e-commerce platform is very, very possible. All you need to do is always ensure that you're on top of the game, you know, understand some of the challenges that you're going to face in a B2C type of setting. Is, for example, is the fact that well, one negative review can knock you down, can take away a possible client, you know, can even take away the client that does exist. You know, a B2C type of setting can also make sure that there is so much competition. As I said, alternatives are always a click away. These are now not just physical shops. Alternatives are just a click away. People can view 1,000 shops and yours is just one of them. But what keeps your shop, of course, unique is ensuring that you can deliver what they want. You have a unique selling point of your product. So all these things always take into consideration, and of course ensure that you're always on top of the game. Think e-commerce, think about customers, think about quality, think about logistics, think about the costs, think about also the opportunity cost, the alternative of, you know, selling online. Maybe what's the amount of money that you're going to use instead of selling online? Maybe physical shop, you're going to have a rent that comes in, recurring expenditure of maybe labor that you're going to sell, you're going to pay each and every month for somebody who's going to stay in the shop. All these things, make sure that you even have a database, you know, where you can communicate with your people. Once upon a time, email was one of the most effective ways of communications. But nowadays, we have WhatsApp groups. Nowadays, we have, you know, communities, Facebook communities, for example. Nowadays, you can even directly call and ask, oh, but hey, we saw this, and this. Well, is it there? Somebody asks you that, yeah, you can cultivate a two-way type of communication. Always customize to how the person always wants it. And of course, today, for that, I would say that's the much we can talk about online. That's the much we can, of course, talk about B2B, business to business type of selling, and also business to customer type of selling, and how different they are, some of the benefits that you're going to enjoy, and some, well, of course, challenges you're going to face. And of course, before I can wrap up this show, I want to, of course, look into today's proverb, which, of course, well, is always well thought about, always well placed for us, of course, to always deliberate and think. And of course, we are in a society where proverbs are part of our lives. Proverbs do, say what we live up for and how we should live. And one of the Africa farmers proverb of the day today is, your time is limited, so don't waste it in living somebody else's life. So, of course, always be unique in the way that you are. And it's really interesting once you think about what uniqueness can bring to you, is the fact that everybody has their own, somehow everybody has their own path. And if you try a different path for, well, that you saw somebody use, some things are not going to work out for you. It's as if everybody has some sort of way that they came into this world, they are going to live in this world, and of course, at the end of the day, even leave the world. So, of course, as I always say, don't just go to a farm and see how they've built their structures and go build the same way. Every farm has its own DNA. Every farm has its own reasoning behind how things are done. The water supply in these farms might be different. The wind direction might be different. Temperatures might be different. All these things you need to consider. So don't just go copy paste how farmers do their thing. Always go get the concept. Get the concept of, maybe if wind direction is always facing maybe one side, this is how then I'm going to do mine. And being unique in your own way is that ensuring that you're reasonable. And being reasonable, you need to consume information. Exactly, that's what we always say. The difference between you and other farmers and another farmer that you aspire to be is information. Once you understand the concepts between things and other things, well, every day you'll always be a better farmer. So for today, of course, I'll call it a wrap. And thank you for being part of this conversation today, where we have learned online, considering online, and how you can attack online, how you can begin, and, well, good luck in your adventure trying online. Ensure that you can deliver what you promise online. So for today, it is a wrap. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, I want to also thank my director, Alista, who has been, of course, ensuring that the show runs smoothly. She's the one who's been pulling some of those Africa proverbs, of course. She's the one who's been doing so much, of course, ensuring that everything is running well, from the sound, the quality of the pictures and everything. Well, thank you very much. And of course, until, well, next time when we meet, of course, which is tomorrow again, we say continue consuming information, because that's the difference between you and other farmers that, of course, you aspire to be. And talking about other farmers you aspire to be, it's very important to know that farmers out there are using pesticide in the best way possible. And it's always very important to understand some of the best pesticide handling measures. So always ensure that you ensure that the label has a valid expiry date once you go to look for pesticides, and also ensure that it has a batch number. Ensure the label is readable. Always refer to the label for instructions on usage, safety, and handling of pesticide. So this message has been brought to you by Markup, and of course in conjunction with UNIDO. Sorry. So they say that well, Dawabora Mozobora always ensure that you can manage your pesticide. Of course, until tomorrow, we say continue consuming information, because it's the difference between you and the farmer you aspire to be.